last night, I think that finally got to the point that we want to recognize over here. Meaning from a molecule that through the tzimtzum umid ho'er, it's mislabish in the kelim. And then, through the kelim, there's idea of hasoga in the oir hamamale. That is this is of paramount importance. To understand the keli does not give you an inkling of the oir, because the keli can be construed to completely conceal the oir. As we have explained through the mashalim in our own lives. But if you focus in and say, recognize the oir hamamale, that in every keli there is an oir that is actually mechaya the keli. And this was something we discussed last night, I think quite conclusively, quite clearly. Then that brings you to the next step. We are on page AyinBase 14, 5 lines from the bottom, and the line starts with the Rosh Hashanah's be-gan eiden. Be-gan eiden and all that, this is the conclusion of what was said before, that in oir hamamale there is a possibility of knowing and understanding and being masig this oir. And this hasoga is in two very distinct levels. Hasoga is ideas hamitzias, and hasoga is hamahus. Mahus is not really in the worldly purview. In other words, in Shoma Beguf, but in the Shoma is in Gan Eden, and the way it is in Atzilus, there is a true Mahus recognition and understanding of the Lakus. Which are Lakus, the Oir HaMamal. And then, as a result of that, and through this process, Yoidim, we know, Gam as Hoirin Soiv HaMufla Mehoilams. Also, the oil in soif that is completely mufla, that's not mislabish in the oil in the world, that there is not a worldly manifestation of it, like a keli. Nevertheless, there is it's by knowing and recognizing the oil hamamale, we know the oil hamufla, the oil hamufla, mufla oil that is completely beyond worlds. Mufla means remote. And looking from a worldly perspective, it is a pella.
Mufla is opposed to memale.
What?
Mufla is opposed to or memale. Is opposed to or memale.
Opposed.
Opposed. It's not opposed. It's a source with the memale. No, there's no opposition. The Oir HaMamale, once recognizes it, Oir HaMamale and understands it, this yoidim, through that you come to know the Oir Insef HaMufme Oilam is the Oir Insef that is Mufla, that is remote from worlds. That from a worldly perspective it's a pella. But nevertheless, recognizing their lakus and in the worldly context, one recognizes the oil that is beyond world. Which is the b'chinas soiva kol almin. Again, I said this we quite clearly discussed last night. The oil has soiva kol almin, which is really the facilitator for the Oyer HaMamale. But into the world comes only the Oyer HaMamale. The Oyer HaSovev is that which enables, which facilitates that there should be Oyer HaMamale. In our Moshel, we pointed out, there is that statement of Baal Shem Tov. In the Koyches HaOdom, there is the Koyach HaRotzein and Koyach HaOinig, and then there is Chabad, Chochma, and the Koyches HaPnimi. The two koiches of Rotzen and Oinig are called koiches makifim, which means that they relate and they recognize an oir from the nefesh that cannot be expressed in kelim. So this is a proper means by which we can relate to the concept of Oyer HaSovev Kolam, Hamufim enlivens. As I pointed out, that we discussed the great length, the whole union from Oyer on the human level, and within the human soul, so to speak, the practical elements of the Oyer that can be mislabish in practical aspects, like getting from place to place, and then we have the statement of the Baal Shem Tov that Mokim Sheritzoyne Shel Adam Shomhu. Now, from perspective of Rotzoin, he is where he wants to be. That cannot be mislabish in words. In worldly terms, in worldly context, there's no way to grasp that idea. But if one fully understands the Oyer HaMamale, and recognizing that which is mislabish in the koiches is really an oyer hanefesh, it is not merely a practical thing, but it's an oyer hanefesh, then one reaches to see, there is the supreme oyer hanefesh, which is that we refer to over here, the Oyer HaSovev, Hamufim enlivens Kolam. Again, coming back to the human arena, the Moshel, we explained many times that there is this phenomenon that people can move from place to place. I mean, he designed all kinds of kelim that enable that. The real enabler that permits a person to move from place to place in ease, without losing sense where he is actually on the higher thing, and this is called the Rotzen, this is called the Ayin HaSovev. That effectively, you go from America, you go down to China. Yes, it's a completely different culture, practically a completely different, nothing similar. The houses are built totally differently. The whole mentality is completely, but it's still the same reality, the same world. The expression is, it's the same sky.
Same what?
Sky. And Chassidus explains that the sky, this is Galgalim, this is actually rooted, comes from Igulim, and inside Igulim, it is literally the same sky. It's the same level. Which is why the Kislev explains this. Is I'm not going into this now because it will be pretty challenging to the modern mind. That standing on one side of the globe and standing on the bottom on the opposite side of the globe does not give you the sensation that you're standing upside down. Not only not they give you the sensation of standing upside down, but that you're standing under a different sky. You're seeing exactly the same one.
Same world?
The same sky. Now, this is up higher than world. From worldly perspective, you are in a different area. So I'm pointing out again, to understand this and to relate to this, one has to first realize the Ayin von Oyer HaMemali. In simple terms, in emotional, what enables a person to actually move from place to place and to get reoriented in a new place. This is Oyer HaMemali. From that, he comes to realize, oh, there is Oyer HaSoibim, because the Soibim is what really facilitates this Oyer HaMemali. This is what we're saying over here. Al Beis yoidem gamas ho'ein sof hamuflim ho'ilamis ha'ina b'chinas sev kol. Get to know the Ayin Sof that is a beyond world, recognizing a godly presence on the level of Seva Kolamim that does not express itself in world. To know that, it's not possible to know it directly. If you know it directly, this is an imaginary thing. It's a projection. It's not the real thing. The real thing you can only know if you come through the Memali process, as we've discussed.
How do you know this is? I guess. How do you know this is an Oyer Sova, not just Etzon in the Memali?
What? If one senses the Oyer HaMemali, one senses immediately that there is Oyer Sova.
But isn't the Makim Shel Shel Adam, isn't that innate? Like, we don't first have to recognize that the car enables us to go anywhere, and then from that we come to the sense that, oh wait, yeah, I belong in the entire world. Isn't that sense that I belong everywhere just an innate? That's like that's our reality, and we translate that.
Wait a second. Yes, but not an idea. Tadrotz. You don't have no inkling of it. You're not even aware that this is what's carrying you. The purpose of creation is begin the ishtemade only. That he should be known, not that he should be there. He is everywhere regardless. That's not, the creation doesn't provide any of that. Yoidem beginners Oyer HaSoibim is a phenomenal thing. Okay, 3 lines at the end of the third line from the bottom. How do we get to know? I'm sorry, no, 4 lines. This is a yidio. A yidio is not is not the rotzen. It's not a makif dekinal. Idea means you know it with your seichel. If you know it with your seichel, there has to be some kind of a keli for it. But there's no keli for oyer seichel. Nevertheless, knowing the oyer hamamalim provides an element of a keli for oyer seichel. And this is what he's discussing right now. This knowledge of oyer haseichel in bebchinas ideas hametzius levad. Either it is in the manner, in bebchinas, in the sense of ideas hametzius levad, only metzius hametzius, knowing the metzius, was meant metzius, knowing that it is present, only that such a thing exists. The Hainu, which is on the Yoidim that we know that there is such a Mitzias, that there is such an entity, such a reality, that is beyond world completely. That world cannot at all grasp. This is the lower level of ideas, as we call them, ideas and mitzias. Where is that idea coming from? As I said, for the idea, there has to be some kind of a means, a keli, to which you know. Why is that? The difference between rotzen and oineg and the other, the koiches pnimim, starting from chochma, even chochma on down, is that the koiches makifim, like you said, the rotzen and oineg, this is a constant, this is an inherent knowledge. This is life itself. There's no need for a keli because there's no need to be presented. Anything that needs to be presented needs a keli through which it is being presented. How do you get to it? But when it comes to yediyah is not an inherent knowledge, which means that you get to know it. If you get to know it, something has to alert you to it. Something has to be presenting it. And that is the principle that says there has to be a keli. What is the means by which you become aware of it? So again, knowing full well the oil hamamale, one gets to know the oil hamuflam and oil masiyasi. At the lower level, mitzias, ideas, mitzias levad. How do one get to know the ideas of mitzias, even the mitzias? The high note is on the yodim that we know sheyesh mitzias or in some hamuflam, that we know just that sheyesh mitzias that there is such an entity. And how do we get to know that? What is the presentation means? Shaharei, since that, move on. Since that it is well understood, self-evident, so to speak, sheho atzmus de'ein soif eine be'erech li'islabish bo'ilams. That atzmus of ein soif is not in proximity to be imbued in world. World means that this is a created entity, and world means that it is something structured in a certain way, There is an up and down. There is Mokim Uzman, up and down, and past and present. Atzmos Ein Sof does not have any of these qualities and cannot even relate to them. Therefore, one recognizes that which is mislabish in world, that is recognized in world, that we're talking about Oyhamali, Harei Zerag Ha'ora Levat. It is only Ha'ora, only a functional element of the Ein Sof. This is what's mislabish in enlivens. V'im came, and therefore it follows. This is, so to speak, the logical process that enables, that reveals the Oyer HaSeir. Im came behechrech. Therefore, it is behechrech. This becomes the logical imperative. Sheyesh lo zeh mokoir, that there is a source meyayin shenimshach ha'ora, where from this ha'ora is nimshach. And that is what makes one aware of the mitzius of the Ein HaSeir.
Can I ask something?
Yes, go ahead. You don't have much time.
Before you said that enlivens atzmos eine berg mit slabbers born, it means that first he knows of atzmos, then he says that from a mala, from the ur, he knows there is atzmos. The eigenlijk is muker ma ein shrimshach ha'ora.
Right. Okay. I understand your question.
Can you paraphrase the question?
Yes, asking. You're saying, for Atzmos in his soif is not beyerach lislabish b'ilmas. That means you already know about Atzmos.
You already know. By the statement, it's not shaykh to olamas. You know about it.
Oh, okay. That's his question.
All right.
This knowledge that the Atzmos in his soif is not beyerach lislabish b'ilmas is not a knowledge of Atzmos in his soif. It is a knowledge of the limits of worlds. And clearly that's an important factor in the entire process of Seichel and his bonus, to know the limits of world. Once one recognizes the limits of world, he understands that Atzmos himself cannot be mislabish b'ilmas. He doesn't have no inkling what Atzmos is. It is not world. And that's sufficient to say it cannot be mislabish b'ilmas.
But how does he know from Atzmos?
The principle of Atzmos, that's a very good question. How does he know of Atzmos? The principle of Atzmos, knowledge of Atzmos in that sense, which means not understanding it, not having a sense of it, but knowing its sense, this is we know, we have directly from our Rotzen and Oimach. This is direct knowledge.
So it's not really a deal.
It's not really a idea.
We saw that the motivation.
That's like the Motzerish. This is a Munah, this is even higher than a Munah. We don't know how we know.
So then why does he need to know from Amala afterwards that there is Atzmos if he knows it beforehand?
Because that knowledge, and the Gemara says, that that knowledge has no significant effect on the person's life at all. It's totally remote. It's not part of his conscience, not part of his life. He can go and do a crime, neged rotzon elin, and at the same time ask for success. So that's what the thing from that. This is not knowledge. Knowledge means that it becomes part of your thought process, part of your knowledge, of your koiches apnimi. There is nothing to do with koiches apnimi. This is a knowledge on the remote level. All right, this is it for this morning.
Yeah.